Hi, I'm Michael Jenkins, CTO of ThreatLocker. At ThreatLocker, we believe in a zero trust approach to protecting your endpoints. And we've taken that level of enterprise security that governments and large businesses around the world use and bringing it to an MSP. I'm joined today by Alastair Cuthbert, Managing Director of Arc IT Solutions, and we're going to discuss how ThreatLocker has impacted his MSP business. Hi, Alastair. Thanks for joining me today. So when selling your services, do you find that ThreatLocker benefits certain verticals over others?
I think years ago, this would have been a really easy one to answer and simply say legal, healthcare, that sort of thing. Nowadays, I think the compliance requirements on every large industry and every large company are so onerous that a product like ThreatLocker with the unified audit just makes things so much easier for them to be able to apply the policies they've got written down in binders on shelves, are so much easier to enact, to apply, and to enforce at the desktop level for the user. So in particular, we find that healthcare, legal, love this product, absolutely love it. But curiously enough, at the other end of the market in terms of scale, we find that smaller businesses that are sales shops, if you will, i.e. an office full of half a dozen salespeople with a manager and a few admin staff, there tends to be a high rate of turnover amongst the sales staff, and the ability for that business owner to be able to deny the right to a USB drive, whether that's from a network share or from a local computer, is enormously powerful for them to be able to hang on to their client lists, all of their intellectual property. Basically, people can't just walk out of the business anymore and take your client list into their next employer. So we find, yes, amongst larger companies, it tends to be healthcare, care homes particularly, legal companies, but we also find manufacturing companies have significant overhead in terms of regulation these days. It seems to be everybody, once you're above a certain size, has to conform to a certain standard of regulation. ThreatLocker helps to enable all of that, and it makes it significantly easier for the people in the organization that have to enact this.
So as one of our longest standing MSPs, you've been with ThreatLocker for nearly 2 years now. How has ThreatLocker changed your perception of ransomware?
It really is, I was going to say was, but it is a business killer if you don't have ThreatLocker. In that, the very least you're going to do is lose an entire day's work. If you get hit with ransomware without any level of protection and it's late in the afternoon, the very best you can hope for is to return to last night's backup. But you're still losing a full day's worth of data and trading if you take that route, as well as the operational inconvenience of having to reload systems. And really, how do you ensure that it's not just going to happen again at 4:15 the next day? So for companies that are not using a product like ThreatLocker, well, firstly, why? Secondly, if you are relying on antivirus and a nightly backup to keep your company running, you may as well just change your password to password with a capital P, because your level of security just is not up to the threats that are out there in the modern world. Ransomware used to keep me up at night. It's the reason I have grey hair. Nowadays, despite the fact that ransomware is involved, and to trace the evolution of ransomware as a technical thing is quite breathtaking to behold at times, to see what some of these miscreants have done with that stuff. But in terms of the amount of thought I actually devote to ransomware now, compared to what it used to be 3 years ago, it's absolutely minimal, because I know that everywhere that has ThreatLocker, that has combined the application and the storage suites into a ring-fencing zero trust policy approach, they're not going to have a problem with ransomware.
So how do you find that ThreatLocker has changed your sales process, especially when coming up against your competitors who still think that antivirus is enough?
It's the way it's changed things for me personally has been I used to spend probably 40 to 50% of my time talking about the level of service and how proud we were of the way that we deliver support to clients. Nowadays, I spend probably 5% of my time on that because people now view that as a standard that everything should come with. The real thrust of any pitch that I make these days is around ThreatLocker because it's very easy to demonstrate, it's enormously powerful, and people can understand what you are saying because they can see it happening on screen. So I guess the advantage for me has been that I don't tend to lose people in technical conversations in the way that I used to. We're all guilty of that in the MSP industry to some degree. But being able to lead that pitch with a powerful tool that's got a visual component that you can deploy as a trial on site within minutes and actually show them their own real-time data of who's doing what, that's powerful. So it has been, that was an unexpected side benefit of bringing ThreatLocker into our organization, has been the way that it has changed the way that I pitch to new clients.
So you've deployed ThreatLocker to your customers and you've applied the advanced storage control policies. How do you find that they've complemented or improved on the NTFS permissions?
Yeah, I think it's very easy to get caught up with the wonderful idea of denying staff the ability to write to a USB drive. But as you've quite correctly pointed out, that's just page one of what the storage control suite can do for your organization. The unified audit, the ability to be able to see in real time who's doing what with your data. These are some next level stuff that goes way beyond the ability to simply deny the right to a USB for a user. Even more powerful when the storage control feature is combined with the application control feature. Implementing ring fencing gives you yet another level of protection far beyond what you can do with simple NTFS and share permissions. So really, when ThreatLocker was first demoed to me, I immediately saw the potential of the application control suite for preventing ransomware from running wild throughout an organization. It's only as I got deeper into what you can do with the storage audit feature that the ability to combine that into a ring fencing and a zero trust policy and approach is enormously powerful for any organization. I would have to say ThreatLocker has brought enormous changes to Arc IT as an organization. It's not simply increased revenue. There is a level of calm that pervades us as an organization these days because we know we now have control over so many things that previously we did not. And that is real power for an MSP.
Thank you, Alastair, and thank you for watching. For more information on how ThreatLocker can protect you and your customers' businesses, please visit www.threatlocker.com.